It is 2025, and in keeping with the gees in sport, we are launching our On the Road to WAFCON 2024 as we throw our support behind Banyana in the tournament, which will take place in Morocco in July this year. Now, as part of our On the Road campaign, we will visit 3 schools this year, encouraging stakeholders to help empower the aspiring sports stars of South Africa. So do join me after 7 a.m. as well as 8 a.m. as we head to Msebeni Primary School in Soweto. Certainly looking forward to that one. Moving on though now, sports fans are once again spoiled for choice with another weekend full of action in store. Now, as we normally do on a Friday, we've roped in award-winning sport journalist Khanyiso Tshwaku, who joins us virtually to look at the weekend ahead. A very good morning to you, Khanyiso. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I want to get straight into it and start talking about the Cricket Champions Trophy. It seems like Enoch Nkwe and the team at Cricket South Africa are doing something right, because we are seeing a lot of South African teams get to the business end of major tournaments. But coming into this Champions Trophy encounter tomorrow, Proteas up against England, what are your permutations for that one?
Good morning, V, and good morning to the viewers. A lot hinges on what transpires in Lahore later this afternoon. Remember that it rained significantly in Lahore. Yesterday's game also was washed out between Pakistan and Afghanistan. And remember that it's 300 kilometers separate Lahore and Rawalpindi. So you may find that there will be an issue of rain. And remember, if the game is rained out, Australia qualify. That means Afghanistan can only go to 3 points, and South Africa, having a superior net run rate, will probably have 1 foot in the semi-finals. They'll still have to play their game against England in Karachi tomorrow. But then again, the net run rate, South Africa's net run rate is looking very healthy at the moment. And should today's game between Afghanistan and Australia be washed out, South Africa then will probably have 1 foot in, and they will need an astronomical defeat to qualify for the semi-finals. What has been clear with CSA is that they've prioritized using bilateral events to build depth, to ensure that when they get to tournaments, they know what their best 15 is, but they also know who are their bench players from a 7-8 player perspective. And I think in the past, there's always been a focus on doing well in bilaterals and then trying to carry that momentum through to events that actually hasn't often worked. I think the Australian approach has actually worked quite well for South Africa, where bilateral events have been used as a testing station for many players, and then with the best players then being selected to represent the country at that particular respective ICC event.
And then, Khanyiso, I want us to shift our conversation now into rugby, because we've got the big North versus South clash happening in the nation's capital tomorrow. The Bulls hosting the Stormers. What are your expectations for what we're likely to witness out in the nation's capital tomorrow afternoon?
It's a must win for the Stormers. They are at a point where they need to salvage the season. And also, they can't find themselves in a position where they are conceding season doubles against a team like the Bulls. It's a very fierce rivalry, not just from a coaching perspective, but from a playing perspective. The Stormers have not had a great season. Actually, they've gotten quite a regression. Remember that they were the initial winners of the URC in its current form. Then they were finalists, then they were quarterfinalists last season. This season, they've just struggled to get going. The Bulls have been the better side. They showed that against the Lions after they missed up against the Sharks. Also, the Bulls also owe themselves a win, because they want to stay in that top 3, and staying in the top 3 for the Bulls will be important for them, because they're also looking to finish in that particular bracket so they can guarantee themselves at least a home quarterfinal and remain in contention for a home semi-final in the event where there's a shock for the teams above them. And remember that they still have to play Leinster next month. So these particular fixtures become of high significance for the Bulls. It is their last South African derby, so they need to make it count for themselves.
Indeed, and finally, as I wrap up with you, I think I've got about a minute. I want to quickly talk Betway Premiership, because we've got Mamelodi Sundowns up against Kaizer Chiefs tomorrow in Archridgeville, and we also have second placed Orlando Pirates travelling to Marumo Gallants. Give me your quick thoughts on those 2 clashes.
Look, Pirates are going to need a big favor from Chiefs in terms of holding either Sundowns to a draw or getting a win. Because yes, one may look, the Pirates still have 4 games in hand, but those aren't points in hand. So Pirates know that we'll probably look to win, and I expect them to win against Marumo Gallants. It's going to be a tricky game between Chiefs and Sundowns. I know the Chiefs have not been in the best of form, but the Chiefs are a team that can and will bring a surprise. Even though Sundowns have by a wide margin have been the best team in the league so far, best team of the month, scoring 24 goals across the month of February. That's more goals than Chiefs have scored in the entire season. So it's going to be two tricky fixtures. I expect Chiefs to be much better than they've been when they play Sundowns tomorrow, and I expect Pirates to get one over Marumo Gallants to try shorten the gap between them and Sundowns.
Khanyiso, it's always a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
That is the award-winning Khanyiso Tshwaku, just talking in terms of what we can expect this weekend in your sport. We touched on the cricket, of course, Champions Trophy, as well as tomorrow's Betway Premiership action, and of course the rugby, the Stormers coming up against the Bulls. That's where we'll leave it for now.